Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. This is Neil with Portal to Ascension. So good to be here with you all. Hope you're doing beautifully. And here we are again, back with another interview and another amazing individual coming to Portal to Ascension. So let me go ahead and just read her bio a little bit, and then we'll bring her on. Tamra is the founder of subconscious metaprogramming healing modality called Sacred Activations. And she was given the gift of Sacred Activations in 2012 by the Source Creator and received her first activation from Lord Metatron in Scotland's Roslyn Chapel. Being a uniquely gifted lightworker, master healer, and galactic channel, she has always been destined to bring permanent healing, personal growth, and positive transformation to people using the power of sacred activations. Sacred activations is a subconscious metaprogramming healing modality powered by source God energy that reprograms your belief systems, emotional patterns, mental constructs, past conditionings into something that is more positive and empowering. And as a subconscious metaprogramming technique, it intelligently corrects, removes, and overwrites and upgrades your subconscious programs and will continue to work on you for days, weeks, and even months, helping you shift your belief systems and raising your consciousness. Tamra is a galactic channel, and we just spoke about her also being a walk-in, which we've had a lot of walk-ins on our channel here as well. And her website is tamraoviatt.com. That's Tamra, Tamra Oviatt, Oviatt.com. So let's go ahead and bring Tamra on. Welcome, Tamra. Thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you so much, Neil. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Excited to have you as well, and welcome to the Portal to Ascension family officially. It's good to see you.
Yay.
And this is our first like face-to-face interaction, which is cool.
Yeah.
So not only is everybody else getting to know you, but I'm also getting to know you in this moment as well. What were the milestones? Because it's really beautiful that within this world of spirituality, people come from every single type of background, right? So what
Yeah.
was your background? Did you have remembrance your whole life? Were there specific things that occurred and that, brought you to this level?
Well, I remember being 3 years old, standing in the kitchen and looking at everybody, all the adults and children standing around, and being able to know who they are and what they were all about and what kind of person they were. So I've always had that memory. And then I grew up in a Christian household, so I had the Christian beliefs, but I didn't really agree with them or understand them. And how could they say that stuff? It just didn't sound right to me. But that was my background growing up. And then at 18, my cat was really sick and she was blown up like a football. And she was a skinny cat. And I took her to the vet. I had blood tests done, we had x-rays done, and they couldn't find anything wrong with her. And she was really lethargic. I thought she was going to die. So I was sitting on my bed one night with her, petting her. And I said, God, what do I do? And I heard, put your hands on her and pray. So I did. And the next morning when I woke up, she was walking around the house like normal, like nothing ever happened. And it blew me away. And I didn't say anything to anybody except my grandmother. So I shared it with her and no one else. And then in 99, I think it was, I kept hearing that you're supposed to be a healer. This isn't what you're supposed to be doing. I had a very successful business. And so I finally said, okay, show me what to do. And then I started doing different trainings. And through 2009, I was doing a lot of different trainings, Akashic Records, theta healing, hypnosis, NLP. I mean, I was just looking at everything. And then in 2012, I went into England and then I went over to the Roslyn Chapel. I was told to go to the Roslyn Chapel. I went for a walk one morning and it was like, what am I doing here? I'm not going to go into the whole story on how I got there and everything or why, but so I was told to go to the Roslyn Chapel. I went into the Roslyn Chapel and I sat down and I said, okay, God, I'm here. And I was told to go into the Akashic Records. And when I did, there was a being standing there. And I said, who are you and what do you want? I'd never seen a being in the Akashic Records. And he said he was Lord Metatron. He was there to assist me. And then all this energy started flowing into the top of my head, followed up with these golden seals. And I was told after this that I was now crystalline and give this to others. So I was calling my friends on Skype, guess what happened? Guess what happened? Do you want this? Do you want this? And so I was given the activation. And then I was supposed to be in England for 3 weeks, but I knew it wasn't time to go home. So I called somebody else I knew that lived in London and I went and stayed with them. And then I heard to go to Stonehenge. So I went to Stonehenge on a tour bus. And when I got to Stonehenge, I sat down on a bench. I said, okay, I'm here. And then the energy started flowing in again. But this was like wild and strong, and it really scared me. And so I received more energy then. And then I continued in Europe for 8 months. And through that time of this 8 months I was in Europe, a lot of the time I was alone. Part of it, I was seafront in Italy by myself, didn't speak the language, didn't know anybody. And I kept having all these different masters and coming to me and giving me activations and information. And that's how sacred activations began. Some of the first ones are all sacred geometry activations. And I was even doing the first three activations with people, and they were having instant healing. And I didn't understand what I was doing, and it kind of freaked me out. As a matter of fact, one of my friends that told me to go to the Roslyn Chapel, after I told him what I heard, said, "Oh, definitely go." So I asked him, "Do you want to have the first three activations?" He said, "Sure." So I ran the activations on him, and I heard to tell me he's going to be sensitive, but I didn't say anything because I still wasn't trusting myself and information I was getting. So I ran the activations on him, and that night he took all of his artwork and all of his paintings and all of his writings into his yard and did a bonfire. And then broke up with his girlfriend of 9 years and moved into a Buddhist colony. And I was like, oh my God, what the heck did I do to this guy? I felt responsible for it, you know? And then I talked to him 30 days later, and he said his life had never been better. And he was really, really happy. His writings were better, his artwork, everything. He was super happy. So this was the beginning of sacred activations, and I've been doing this since 2012. And there's a lot of activations to help you change your subconscious programming, because that's what this is all about. I feel I rename myself the Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy Coach, because I really want you to be happy and joyful, because that's how we create the beautiful consciousness that we're moving into.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I feel like joy is like the cornerstone of our upliftment, you know. It transcends the polarity, right? When you have your belief systems change and your empowerment changes, a lot of things that you've held on to, right, in the past may actually fade away, and things that you think that you might want that you really have identified with or feel that you love so much may not actually be the right thing for you when you start really caring and loving yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Relationships change, but other relationships evolve. When you're changing, the people around you start changing or they fade away, you know, one or the other. But I've noticed so many people around me just keep shifting and shifting and with me, because they're mirroring back to me. And then, of course, other people just fade out of the picture. You don't really have relationship with them anymore.
I'd love for you to speak more about the masters. Who are the masters that come to you? So what's the connection between, maybe if you can draw the connection between the star beings and the masters that were coming to you and giving you this awareness?
Well, both. I mean, I had aliens coming to me, giving me activations, and actually, they gave me alchemy of the third through the fifth dimension, which I was afraid to do because it would change your life so fast that I was afraid to do it. Took me 6 months to run those activations. And then I've had Jesus come to me and put his hand on my heart. I've had Mother Mary come to me. I've had Buddha come to me. And I think it's some of the early ones was because of my belief systems. These are the figures that I was aware of that were coming to me. So the ones although I didn't know who Lord Metatron was, but so many different figures. And then I've had many conversations with different aliens and star people. I've gone to travel, portal travel to different dimensions, different planets and conversations.
Could you maybe talk about some of those? What were maybe some of the ones that stuck out the most? Is that kind of like a personal journey of what you received, or can you share some of that?
Well, it was really all for my training, and I was always told this is for your training. We are not your God. We are you. We are the same. We're not better than you. And all the energy I do and my focus is really the people. So it's been a journey, and really I was the soul that ran all the trainings, because I knew that when I showed up to go training, no matter what I wrote down, it didn't matter. The information always just comes through. So that was quite the journey. And then through this process, I've actually stopped talking to a lot of the masters because I'm being told I am the master I'm speaking to. So it's no longer part of my daily life. Although my uncle showed up that passed away a couple months ago, and I saw him, and he was doing this to me, and I said, "Hi, Uncle Carl, why are you doing that?" And he says, "Because you need to meditate more." And I went, "You're right. Thank you for the message," you know. So he just came in to tell me that and give me a message to tell anybody. It wasn't this thing to do that. It was just information for me, and it was perfect because that's what I needed. But I mean, absolutely the masters and everybody's here to assist us, but this is our game. I'm here to assist. I'm here to help. We're all brothers and sisters in this game. And what I do is here to assist you. So that's mainly my focus is the people. I hear the job, your job is the people. So I try to not, I mean, I do all kinds of stuff. I go through the matrix, I go through the ferment, I go to other planets. I have conversations with different beings, but I try to stay grounded and connected with the people to help assist them in their shifts, to help shift the humanity through the collective consciousness. And it's just about working on the subconscious programming that we all come in with and learn when we're young children. So my job is to help shift the collective consciousness really through humanity. So every time I help shift someone's belief systems and reprogram them with happy, happy, joy, joy, after we clear out those programs, they raise the vibration of the planet and the collective consciousness because we're all connected into that. So they're bringing me information and codes and blueprints. Glastonbury being the heart chakra of the world, I mean, there's a lot of crazy, weird, almost satanic stores there that try to throw you off. So, they're trying to anchor the dark into the light, but it's really just don't go into those stores. Go through the Abbey. The Abbey has a lot of ley lines through it, and the energy is absolutely incredible. Every time I go, and I'm walking through the Abbey, I get more downloads, I get more information, I get new classes to teach. I start working with the multiverse from there. So it's really, 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 really powerful. It really is.
Such an inspirational place. And as you know, we do our annual conference there in Glastonbury. Being in Glastonbury and just walking through those lands is an initiation in itself, right?
Yeah,
And for everybody
absolutely.
tuning in, Tamra is going to be at our Glastonbury conference. That's going to be next
Yay.
year. We're skipping this year. AscensionGlastonbury.com for that. And it's the cool, but the cool thing is that the town is literally 20, 30 seconds walk away from all these sacred sites,
Yeah,
you know? So it's like a retreat, a conference, everything in one. I agree. Like it being the heart chakra center, I've heard a lot of stories of people going there deliberately attempting to put in negative frequencies into the
oh
ley
yeah,
lines and people trying to correct it and all of that. And did you maybe have any memories of your own lives in that
yeah.
area? Could you share some of that?
Yeah, this is something I've never talked about before. But see, I think past lives are really programs for our working. One of my past lives was Mary Magdalene. And again, that's one of my programs. How many people can say that? There's probably 100,000 people on this planet that say they have a past life as Mary
A quick
Magdalene.
question. As you're explaining this, could you explain what you mean by program?
I believe past lives are programs. We are PCs and we have software. And a lot of these software, we need the software to run our lives. And so we need those past lives for karmic reasons or learning and something to work on. Because your mind always goes, well, last time that happened, what did I do? Right. So it's got these programs to connect into to know what to do. So one of some of this work I do is we pull out the whole complete programs and then plug in new programs of happiness and joy, really. So they are programs. So when I first heard I was Mary Magdalene and Lord Metatron kept showing me that life, it freaked me out because it's like, how could I possibly be that? I visited the past life a lot. I realize it's a program, and I'm finding the longer I go, the less I need to go to look at that. And it's like it doesn't really exist anymore. There was another program I had where I was an advisor to the king and queen, whatever that means, and I was walking down the street and I was stabbed in the back. And it was down the high street in England, in Glastonbury. And I remember when I used to go, I was always turning around and looking behind me. And when I cleared that, I saw that and I cleared it, it stopped happening. So I no longer have that process of needing to look behind me, if somebody's going to stab me in the back.
So, the work that people do with you, the sacred activations, you say that how to create permanent healing, right, and personal
Right.
growth. So, would it be that we're clearing these programs, such as these things that we've been embedded and we've taken on, so that we can learn certain things, have certain traits, bring in certain qualities and merits? But then there's also the hindrance component of it all, things that are holding us back, victimizing ourselves to the past. So, are you saying
Mhm.
as we clear these programs, we're liberated from that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we could change the past life programs where your mind's always going, well, what did I do last time? You could change the program, and then really it shifts all your past lives. It changes your whole timeline. And then when you're looking back, you're getting this positive information to run on instead of the negative stuff that was replaced.
Right. I really love that you shared the programming thing, because that's something that not too many people share about, because a lot of people still are in what their subconscious or unconscious mind is telling them that they were this individual, and they go around, for example, thinking that they're Yeshua. And again, we have like 100,000 Yeshuas on the planet.
And that's exactly what we do. We pull these programs and we plug them in because just like a computer, it comes with programs. If you have a computer without programs, how is it going to run? As a matter of fact, I had this client and I went to go into her past lives and to pull these programs, and there wasn't any. And she always didn't know what to do. She was so confused in life, didn't know what to do because she didn't have any programs. She wanted to come in and see what happened without any programs, and she was so lost. So I installed some programs for her so that she could operate.
So do we have past lives that are legit, and then programs, and they kind of get mixed together?
That's
Or
beyond my knowledge. As far as I know and understand, is everything's happening now. So if you're running a past life program and that was your past life, then it's really happening now. And I really think all past lives are just programs that we plugged into.
right. I really appreciate also what you said earlier about that you realizing you are the master, right? Instead of receiving, because what I've noticed as well is that, the old age, the Kali Yuga, which is the hierarchy age, the hierarchy and the authority age. And a lot of times that kind of model is taken over into the new paradigm, where we give up our power to even ETs and star beings. And a lot of times we're calling in the other beings as if they're better than us or are higher than us, because that's the old program. But
Right.
ultimately, the human souls, Earth is a gift to some of the most advanced souls that have achieved a lot. So, in many ways, many of the souls incarnated on Earth have even transcended depths of even the beings that we're calling in on, right? So,
Absolutely.
so now I stopped saying, "Oh, Pleiadians, angels come down." I always put in the highest, most empowered version of myself
There
in
you go.
as well, because we're as advanced as all that. We don't need to give our power away, or we don't need to beg for help anymore. Oh,
No,
we're not in that paradigm. So,
everything's inside of you.
right. So exactly. And maybe you want to share a little bit more on that, on like on the shift from us having that the other and that worshiping to really understanding what our own sovereignty is. How do we go ahead and achieve that for ourselves?
It's really a process because we're trained to put our power outside of ourselves. We're trained to look at other people for help, for psychic readings. That's how we're trained, or to doctors. We give our power away to doctors. We give our power away to bosses or politicians and everything else. And really, it's all about us. It's all about us becoming really the temple of God that we are. It's all about us remembering and really being able to love ourselves and to create what we want to create. And when we can really focus on creating what we want to create, at least 51% of the day, your life's going to change hugely, because now you're not running on what everybody else says and you're running on your own power. We all are the masters in our lives. All of us are. It's not just me or you, it's everybody. And we spin out in all these subconscious collective programs that are part of the game to keep us stuck and keep us spinning out. And sometimes it's really hard to pull out of the program and to see the truth and to let it go. And then when you do that, you just start feeling so much better. And the more you take time for yourself to clear out the things that no longer serve you, the better you get, the better your life gets. because this game is for you. Everything is inside of you. I have found, I mean, I was sucked in and spinning out and all kinds of stuff. And the more I just focus on me and what I love to do, everything changes and the people around me get better or go away. And my life is just more full of joy instead of fear. I call in the butterflies. I was swimming the other day and these butterflies swam by and or flew by, swam by. Well, maybe, and I just said, "Oh, butterfly, I love you so much. You're so beautiful. Thank you." And the next thing I know, I had like over 100 butterflies fly over my head. And it was just so amazing. So, really, what we focus on, we're creating every second of the day. So, focus on good stuff, focus on amazing things to happen, and you'll just start changing your whole life.
Right. So part of what I'm hearing you say is seeing what, maybe focusing on what brings us joy, right? But so are there specific questions that we should ask ourselves on to really know about what we need and sitting with it rather than basing the way we feel about ourselves based on how others feel about us or the reflection we receive. Ever since child, we get that from our parents and then from government and so on.
In your friendship and everything else. And everything is a reflection. Mirror, mirror. What are you creating every day? Step out of that. Go do something different. And because you are creating all of it, this is your matrix. This is your hologram. You are the programmer. Just like you said with Dolores Cannon, people pulling programs to install for their life, life between life, installing that. And that's what we do. Okay, so you have installed all these programs in your now, in your past, and even in your future. At 56, I'm going to do this or that or have that experience. We have all these programs in our timeline, but we don't have to play them out. We can change them. We can change our future programs and we change our past programs, and it changes our whole timeline, really, in our whole life.
Yeah, I often say that we're actors on the stage that we forgot we're acting, and we also
Yeah,
forgot we're the programmers, the directors, and all of that. And part of the
exactly.
awakening, and if you get into simulation theory and quantum physics, this in some way is a holographic projection of consciousness, and we're doing it unintentionally, unconsciously. So with your work and with a lot of these modalities that are assisting people empowering, we're basically going behind the wheel now instead of instead of wandering aimlessly. So I'd be curious to know about your sacred activations. How does it work for people? What do they experience? Is it some sort of chanting and mantras, or is it like hands-on energy work? What does it look like?
Some of that is in the medical intuitive, really sacred activations. I mean, the first activations are sacred geometry activations, which do a lot of healing all on their own. And the other activations are really deactivations. They're deactivating subconscious programming that you have, a lot of trauma from like 0 to 7, fear, anger, resentment, disease, bad relationships. And what it does is I connect with source energy. And so that's what I teach my practitioners do. But we actually receive these golden seals, which already have the programs in them. So you just say Lord Metatron activation, and the activation runs and starts changing the programming in the person's energy field. And it starts shifting it, but it doesn't take you from ground one to up to 18 because that's too much for your consciousness. Your brain, you couldn't focus on that, but it helps start shifting you and opening your life. And it helps with all areas of your life. I just got this testimonial from one of my teachers in Australia. Over the last 2 years, she's worked with 4 different people that were flat broke and they're now multimillionaires. So she just posted it on the practitioners page the other day. I was like, wow. So sacred activations is about you. It's about changing your belief systems, whatever they are, to clear that out, plug in happy, happy, joy, joy, which creates the highest and best for you. It's an ascension modality. I mean, sure, it absolutely helps with disease and all of that. I've had lots and lots of people heal, but really, if I were to say, what is it about? It's about ascension. It's about your ascension. It's about you becoming more of you and your power to be able to really play this game in your fantasy island and create the fantasy love you want instead of your horror show that you've been creating. You can change that.
And I would say is there probably is some element of how ready the person is when they show up. If they show up, and if they sometimes they just want to, a lot of people want to hold on to old belief systems, and
Yeah.
you got to really be ready to shift it. So what is the kind of the success rate, if you will, for this? Have you noticed that if people show up but they're really still holding on to this old belief, they don't want to let go of it, maybe they don't have that experience as much, or no, if they're coming, they've already set that intention that they're ready for it and they receive those modalities. So what have you noticed with people you worked with?
Well, some people just keep going and going and go through all the training or all the webinars and just keep shifting and shifting and shifting. Some people get so much and then they stop for a while and then they come back a year or two later and then they start going again. I offer a lot of free videos on my website, healing, really, activations, and also on my YouTube channel, totally free. And a lot of the people that come in to become a practitioner go through my free stuff and they start noticing how much their life is changing and changing with the people around them. And then that's when they want to become a practitioner.
Makes sense. So I'm curious, is there, I'm curious on how people can connect with their masters. And is it as easy as just setting that intention? Is there specific types of meditations, or how did it come for you? And do you share that with the work that you do as well, and how people can have that communication and receive the downloads as well?
Yeah, in the practitioner training, they receive the golden seals to do this work and it's not like they have to learn. They get to practice because there's nothing to learn. You already have the programs. They've already been activated for you when we activate them. And then they just take the weekend practicing and running activations on each other to help people shift. I also teach Akashic Records trainings and so that people can learn how to use their psychic abilities, how to talk to the masters, how to talk to the galactic, how to get information, how to do healing in the Akashic Records. Matter of fact, this weekend I'm doing two trainings, one each day. First day is Heaven and Hell, Akashic Records, but really it should be called Talking to Your Ancestors. I think would be probably be better. And then, but I do take people into Heaven and Hell so that, and when they do that and they go into that energy of hell, they just, all their belief systems about that and the fear just shifts away because you realize that it's actually on the fourth dimension and heaven and hell is the same place. Torth took me there. I was in this 3 day silence for 3 days. I was in Puerto Morelos, Mexico by myself. And I heard to go into 3 day silence. So Torth kept coming to me and saying, I want to take you to hell. And I kept saying, no, I don't want to go to hell. And it's like, how, it's like, if you're everything, then nothing can harm you, right? And I said, right. And he says, come with me. And then he took me in, and then that's when I saw it was really the same level, the same thing. And people, when they decide they don't want to be in hell anymore, they can leave. As a matter of fact, I helped my uncle leave because he was quite the partier in his life. So, and he grew up in that Christian belief systems. So he felt guilty that he was going to go to hell when he died, right? So here he was in there, and I said, "You don't have to be here. That's a bunch of crap." So we had this conversation, and he laughed. So when you teach people to talk to their ancestors and go connect to them, they could be in hell or they could be in heaven, but really heaven and hell is a fourth dimension, part of the matrix. We don't have to go there. We can go beyond that. That is the reincarnation line. And even if you're in there and you decide you don't want to be there and you want to go beyond there, you can. You're
Well,
not stuck.
that's so interesting. We put ourselves there, right?
Yeah,
And that reminds me of something Buddha would say in Buddhism. Buddha believed that when you die, the level of where your brain is, your consciousness, and your beliefs in that moment is the imprint for your next incarnation. So you could live a terrible life, do all types of crazy stuff. You could be full of shame, but if you, in the last few moments, you have you clear all that, even though you had a whole life, 99% of it was like this, you can actually now choose where to go, right?
yeah.
So yeah, that's very, very interesting.
Absolutely, you can choose where to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You don't have to do that. But I've
So
also talked to people that have gone into heaven when they died, and I said, "Well, what are you doing here?" And he says, "I need another life." And I said, "Okay."
'cause you said they went to heaven, or they went to hell when they died?
He went to heaven.
Uh-huh.
He was from India. I don't know if they believe in hell, but he was in heaven. And I said, "You don't have to be here. This is the reincarnation line." He's a doctor in India that I used to work
Yeah.
with, and he said he needed to redo it.
Right. So interesting. And what you said as well, you're saying a lot of good keywords here. that is still a part of the matrix,
Yeah.
that heaven and hell, you
Yeah.
know, another level in the game, if you will.
Yeah. So are
Hmm.
all these other planets. They're all
Yeah,
part of the matrix. They're all part of the game, playing the game with us. We're
yeah,
all in this together.
right, exactly. Yeah. All right, so as we close out here, I'd love to, you've shared a lot about how you help with the individual. So I'd like to take this now to the collective. So what is it that you envision as not only people are sharing your modality, but people are waking up to this new paradigm in general? What is it that you envision for this new world? What could this planet look like? What do we have in store for ourselves?
We just keep getting better and better. I mean, we're all in this together. It is a collective consciousness. We're all playing this game together. Nobody's going to split off and go to another world. We're not being split off. We're all in it together, and you don't have to save anybody. Let them play the game the way they're playing it. This game is for you. You focus on you being happiness and joy. Disconnect from the media and separation and fights and fears and wars and all of that, and focus on your life. What brings you joy? Is it to pick flowers and give them to your neighbor? Is it to watch the bees or the butterflies? Whatever that is, do that. Because when you're doing that, you're feeding it all to the collective consciousness. And the more we feed peace, love, joy, and happiness to the collective consciousness, the more everybody else that isn't even aware of it are also plugging into those same programs of peace, love, joy, and happiness. Because, like we are a PC with programs, so is the consciousness, so is all of this, so is the matrix. It's all a game. And how do I see the future? Better and better and better. I think the next couple of years is going to be a little bumpy, but don't pay attention. Don't just focus on you. And the more you focus on you, whatever that is, you're supporting the whole collective consciousness. You don't need to go out there and do anything.
Beautiful. Yeah, I agree 100%. I feel as well the next couple years may be a little bumpy, but your perspective and it gives us the opportunity to do really reflect on what we need, what we want, and bring ourselves joy. And what you said, we're all in this together. We most of humanity, if not all of us, all want the same things: love, connection, to feel at
Yeah.
peace with each other. The reason why
Yeah.
we feel other is because there's been programs that have been imposed, maybe by ourselves or by others, who knows what it really is that we are playing out. But ultimately, we all want the same thing. And
Yeah.
so I'm really happy that to meet you, Tamra, and to have you here in Portal to Ascension. Thank you so much for today, and everybody out there, check out Tamra at tamraoviatt.com. That's TamraOviatt.com. I'll put the link in the description. And Tamra is going to be at our Great Remembrance Conference, which will be in July. 2-day conference, July 19th and 20th. And she'll be in Glastonbury next year. And you'll be seeing her a lot more in Portal to Ascension. So this is the debut for Tamra here on Portal to Ascension. So Tamra, thank you for all the work you do. So glad to connect with you. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.